The River Erne rises in County Cavan and flows for almost 100 kilometres to the Atlantic Ocean on the west coast of Donegal at Ballyshannon. Its headwaters flow from a number of spring-fed lochs and streams, and for almost 50 kilometres from Co.Donegal through to Enniskillen in Co.Fermanagh. The River Erne can be difficult to distinguish as it winds its way through a series of interconnected lochs nestling among the drumlin hills of Cavan and South Fermanagh. Across the Erne's 4,372 square kilometre drainage area, this unique watery environment is enjoyed by many for leisure activities such as angling and boating. The busy town of Enniskillen separates Upper and Lower Lough Erne. From here, the water flows into the Lower Lough, then on through the border town of Ballyke. The power of the Erne River is harnessed for hydroelectric power generation at Ballysshannon's mighty Kathleen Falls, before it finally flows from Loch Assaroe into the Atlantic. The landscape and land use of the Erne Catchment are varied and give rise to many pressures on the quality of water in its rivers and lochs. Peaty soils in the west of the catchment can naturally give the water a distinctive earthy colour, but there is a risk that activities such as turf cutting and commercial forestry could degrade the fragile peaty soils and cause unnaturally high volumes of tiny peat particles to escape to the rivers, colouring the water further. This wet land with its plentiful supply of rain gives rise to the growth of rushes, which presents a challenge to farmers trying to meet agricultural land management requirements. In recent years, the quantities of a herbicide called MCPA, used to kill rushes and docks, has been increasing in our rivers and lakes. Unrestricted livestock access to our rivers and lochs and the over-application of slurry and fertiliser on the soils can all increase the risk of soil and nutrients loss to watercourses. The Erne is a precious source of drinking water for the people who live in the area. Before it can come out of your tap, the water is treated to a high standard to remove the contaminants washed into the rivers and lochs. Sediment, herbicides, colour and all other impurities must be removed by the water companies in order for our drinking water to meet stringent water quality targets. The more contaminants that are in the water, the more challenging and costly that water treatment process can be, and multi-million scale investment is often needed to ensure pesticides are all removed. In Killyhevlin Water Treatment Works near Enniskillen, the water is screened to remove debris. Small pieces of iron are added which impurities stick to and are then removed again before the water goes through further filtration and disinfection. The water must then be passed through large tanks filled with tiny pieces of carbon which filter the water to improve the taste and odour and remove the herbicides. If there are high quantities of herbicides such as MCPA in the water, it means that the carbon becomes more quickly saturated with the MCPA and needs to be taken off site more often to be replenished. This increases the costs of water treatment. Finally, the water is tested again to check the quality before it is of a suitably high standard to be piped out to our homes and families. The Source to Tap project is a €4.9 million EU Interreg 5A funded project which aims to contribute to improvements in water quality in the Erne and Derg cross-border river catchments that are a source of our drinking water. Source to Tap is piloting changes in land management techniques such as fencing of rivers to exclude livestock and replacing boom spraying of MCPA with weed wipers to apply herbicide for rush control, thereby reducing losses of herbicides to rivers and streams. The project is also working with local communities to raise awareness about where we get our drinking water from by carrying out school visits and community events. Volunteers in the Erne are being trained in the riverfly monitoring technique and equipped to monitor the quality of their local rivers. By checking the tiny riverfly creatures called invertebrates that live in the bottom of our rivers, we can tell how clean the water is. our drinking water is precious, and we can all make a difference in protecting it.